Most people think this rule will fix their money. They hear it everywhere. 50% for needs, 30% for wants, 20% for saving. Sounds simple, right? That's exactly the problem. Because what no one tells you is this rule can actually keep you broke. Not because it's completely wrong, but because most people use it the wrong way. Imagine this. You get your salary. You try to follow the rule perfectly. You pay your bills. You spend a little on yourself. And you try to save what's left. But at the end of the month, you're still stuck. No real progress. No real freedom. Just repeating the same cycle again and again. And you start thinking, maybe I just need to earn more. But the truth is, it's not just about how much you earn. It's about how you use it. And if you don't understand this early, you can follow this rule for years and still end up in the same place. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly where this rule goes wrong and how to fix it the right way. Let's understand the rule first, because on the surface, it actually makes sense. 50% of your income goes to your needs, things you can't avoid, rent, food, bills. Then 30% is for your wants, things that make life enjoyable, eating out, shopping, entertainment. And finally, 20% goes to saving and investing, your future, your safety, your growth. Simple, clean, easy to follow. And that's why so many people trust it. It feels structured. It feels smart. It feels like you're in control. But here's the hidden problem. Life isn't that perfectly balanced. Not everyone has the same income. Not everyone has the same expenses. For some people, just their needs alone take more than 50%. And when that happens, the whole system starts breaking. Because now you're forced to adjust, cutting from savings or increasing spending without realizing it. And slowly, that perfect rule stops working in the real world. Here's the first big mistake. The rule assumes your income is high enough. But for most people, that's not true. Let's say you earn $2,000 a month. Now try applying the rule. 50% for needs. That's $1,000. But what if your rent alone is $900? Add food, add bills. And suddenly, you're already over budget. There's nothing left for wants, and definitely nothing left for saving. So what do most people do? They adjust the rule, not their lifestyle. They still spend on wants, because they need a break. They cut from savings instead. And without realizing it, they've just turned a smart system into another paycheck-to-paycheck cycle. This is why the rule fails so many beginners, because it doesn't match their reality. And when your system doesn't match your life, it doesn't matter how disciplined you are. It will always feel like you're behind. Here's the second mistake. Even if your income is enough, most people still use the rule in the wrong order. They focus on spending first and saving later. Needs come first, then wants, and whatever is left goes into savings. Sounds logical, but this is where everything breaks. Because whatever is left is usually nothing. Something always comes up. An extra expense, a small purchase, a random bill, and suddenly, that 20% you plan to save disappears month after month. And the worst part, you don't even notice it, because technically, you followed the rule. But in reality, you never paid yourself first. You made everyone else a priority, except your future. And that's why, no matter how much you earn, you still don't feel ahead. Because saving isn't your system, it's your leftover. Here's the third mistake, and this one is subtle. You don't notice it happening, but it slowly destroys your progress. It's called lifestyle inflation. As your income increases, your spending increases with it. You start earning more, so you feel like you can spend more. Better food, better clothes, better lifestyle, and it feels deserved. You worked hard for it, so why not enjoy it? But here's the problem. Your percentages stay the same. 50%, 30%, 20%. So even though you're earning more, you're not actually building more wealth. You're just upgrading your life, not your future. And that's the trap. Because from the outside, it looks like progress. But in reality, you're standing in the same place, just with more expensive habits. And over time, those habits become your new normal, making it even harder to ever break out. So if the rule isn't working, what should you do instead? First, stop treating it like a fixed formula, because it's not. It was never meant to be perfect. It's just a guideline. And once you understand that, everything changes. Instead of forcing your life into the rule, you adjust the rule to your life. Not everyone can save 20%, and that's okay. Start with what you can, even if it's just 5%. Because consistency matters more than the number. And more importantly, you change the order. You stop saving what's left, and you start saving first, before spending, before anything else. Because if you don't prioritize your future, no one else will. And this one shift, small but powerful, is where everything begins to change. Now let's make this practical. Because knowing the problem is not enough. You need a system you can actually follow. Start with this. The moment your salary comes in, don't touch it. Don't spend anything yet. First, take out your savings, even if it's small, even if it's just 5 or 10%. Move it to a separate place, where you don't see it every day. This is your future money, not spending money. Then, use what's left for your needs, your rent, your bills, your essentials. And whatever remains after that is what you can spend freely. No guilt, no confusion, no overthinking. Because now, your priorities are clear, and your system is working for you, not against you. It's simple, but it works. Now, even with this system, people still make mistakes. And if you don't catch these early, you'll fall back into the same cycle. The first mistake is trying to do too much too fast. You get motivated and suddenly decide to save 30 or 40%. But your lifestyle isn't ready for that. So what happens? You quit after a few weeks and go back to old habits. The second mistake is not tracking your spending. You think you're doing fine, but small expenses add up, and slowly they start eating into your system. The third mistake is mixing your savings with spending money. If it's in the same place, you will use it, no matter how disciplined you are. And the final mistake is inconsistency, doing it 1 month and ignoring it the next, because this only works if you stick to it, not perfectly, but consistently. And if you stick to this, something starts to change. Not instantly, but gradually, you begin to notice you're not as stressed about money anymore. Because now, you know where everything is going. Your savings start growing, slowly at first, but consistently. And that consistency builds confidence. You stop second-guessing every decision. You stop feeling guilty when you spend, because you've already handled your priorities. And that's the difference. You're no longer reacting to money. You're controlling it. And that shift is powerful because it changes how you think, how you act, how you plan your future. You're still earning the same amount, but it feels completely different because now your money has direction. Now here's where things get interesting. Once your system is stable, you unlock the next level, growth, because managing money is step 1, but increasing it is step 2. And now you're actually ready for it. Before, more money would just mean more spending. But now, it means more progress, more savings, more investing, more freedom, because your system can handle it. So instead of upgrading your lifestyle immediately, you upgrade your percentages. Maybe your savings go from 10% to 15%, then 20%, then even higher. And over time, that gap between what you earn and what you spend starts to grow. And that gap is where wealth is built, not from one big decision, but from consistent upgrades. Small changes, repeated over time. And that's how you move from just managing money to actually building wealth. At this point, it's no longer about rules. It's about mindset. Because anyone can follow a system for a few weeks, but very few people can stick with it for years. And that's what actually creates results. Discipline, not motivation. Motivation comes and goes, but discipline is what keeps you consistent, even on the months when things feel tight, even when unexpected expenses show up, even when you feel like skipping it. You still follow your system, not perfectly, but consistently. And over time, that consistency compounds. Your savings grow, your confidence grows, your control grows, and slowly, money stops being a source of stress and starts becoming a tool you know how to use, a tool that works for you. And that's when you realize this was never just about budgeting. It was about becoming the kind of person who can handle money the right way. Let's make this real. Imagine 2 people, both earning the same amount, same salary, same lifestyle, but one difference. The first person follows the rule, the way most people do, spends on needs, spends on wants, and saves whatever is left. The second person uses the same rule differently, saves first, even if it's small, then adjusts everything else around it. Now fast forward 1 year, the first person feels like nothing changed, still stressed, still stuck. The second person has savings, has control, has options. And the crazy part, They both earned the same money. The only difference was the system they followed. And that's what most people miss. It's not about earning more. It's about using what you already have the right way. And this is where most people get stuck. Not because they don't understand the system, but because they don't take action. They wait. They overthink. They tell themselves, I'll start next month. But next month never comes. Because something always comes up. Another expense, another excuse, another delay. And slowly, time passes. Months turn into years. And nothing really changes. That's the real cost. Not the money you spend, but the time you lose. Because the earlier you fix this, the easier it is. The longer you wait, the harder it becomes. So don't wait for the perfect moment. It doesn't exist. Start small. Start simple. But start now, because one small step today is worth more than a perfect plan tomorrow. Now, once you've built the habit of saving, there's something even more important. What you do with that money. Because saving alone is not enough. It protects you, but it doesn't grow you. And this is where most people stop. They save money, but they never make it work for them, so their progress slows down. But when you understand this, everything changes again. You stop seeing money as something to hold and start seeing it as something to grow. This is where investing comes in, not in a complicated way, not risky, not confusing, just simple, consistent investing over time. Because the goal isn't to get rich overnight. It's to build something steady, something that grows quietly in the background, while you focus on your life. And the earlier you start this, the more powerful it becomes. And this is where the real magic happens. Compounding. At first, it doesn't look impressive. Your money grows slowly, almost invisible. And that's why most people quit early, because they expect fast results. But compounding doesn't work like that. It starts slow, then it builds, and then it accelerates. Your money starts making money, and then that money starts making even more money. And over time, those small amounts turn into something big, but only if you stay consistent. Because compounding rewards patience, not speed. And the earlier you start, the more time it has to grow. That's why two people can invest the same amount, but end up with completely different results. Because one started earlier, and that small difference in time becomes a massive difference in outcome. That's the power most people underestimate. And once you understand it, you stop chasing quick wins and start building real wealth. So now the question is, how much should you actually invest? And the answer is simple. Start with what you can, not what sounds impressive. If you can only invest 5%, start there. If you can do 10%, even better. But don't wait until you can do 20, because waiting is the most expensive mistake. What matters isn't the amount, it's the habit, the consistency. Because someone investing a small amount every single month will always beat someone who waits for the perfect time. And as your income grows, you adjust. You increase your percentage, step by step, not all at once. And over time, that small percentage becomes powerful. Because now, you're not just saving money, you're building an engine that keeps growing, with or without you. But even after understanding all this, most people still don't start investing. Why? Because of fear. Fear of losing money. Fear of doing it wrong. Fear of not knowing enough. And that fear keeps them stuck. But here's the truth. You don't need to know everything to begin. You just need to start small and learn as you go. Because the biggest risk is not investing at all. It's letting your money sit still while time keeps moving. And slowly, its value decreases while everything around you gets more expensive. So instead of trying to be perfect, focus on being consistent. Make simple decisions. Avoid unnecessary risks. And give your money time. Because confidence doesn't come before action. It comes after it. Once you take that first step, everything starts to feel easier. So when you look at everything we've covered, you start to see the bigger picture. This was never just about a rule. Not 50, not 30, not 20. It was about how you think about money. Because a simple rule can't fix a broken system. And it definitely can't fix a confused mindset. That's why some people follow the rule and stay stuck, while others use it as a starting point and move ahead. The difference isn't the rule, it's the person using it, the way they prioritize, the way they stay consistent, the way they adapt. Because real progress comes from understanding, not just following. And once you understand this, you stop looking for perfect formulas and start building your own system, one that fits your life, your income, your goals. And that's when things finally start to click. At the end of the day, this isn't just about money. It's about your future, the kind of life you want to live, the stress you want to avoid, the freedom you want to have. Because money affects everything. Your choices, your time, your peace of mind. And the truth is, most people never take control of it. They let it control them. They earn, they spend, they repeat, year after year, without ever stepping back and asking, is this actually working? But you're different, because now you see it clearly. You understand what's wrong, and more importantly, you know how to fix it. So this moment right here, it matters, because this is where most people stop. But this is also where everything can change, if you decide to actually act on it. So here's the truth. The 50-30-20 rule isn't the problem. The way you use it is. And now, you know better. You know that saving comes first. You know that consistency matters more than perfection. You know that small steps build big results. And most importantly, you know that you're in control. Not your income, not your expenses. You. So start simple. Start small. But start today. Because the longer you wait, the harder it becomes. And the sooner you begin, the easier everything gets. This isn't about being perfect. It's about being consistent. And if you follow this the right way, you won't just manage money. You'll build real freedom. And if you want more simple, real strategies like this, make sure you subscribe. Because the next video might change the way you see money forever.